Good morning. Welcome to Apprentice of Silence, and welcome to your daily morning reading. Hope you had a good night. I'm going to start with setting an intention to create a safe container for you that you have access to whenever you need it. And yeah, let's do it. Good morning. Per usual, I got the coffee. Spirit, any messages for today? Take your time. Um, so the first thing I want to say is, when sometimes you get stuck on like platforms like YouTube and you keep looking for information over and over and over again, even if it's past the stage where you're having an issue and you want some guidance, or you want some information, or you want some clarity. Sometimes when it's past that stage, but you still keep looping and you still keep looking for information, and it's like watching 5,000 pick a card readings, tarot, on YouTube, about the same thing. And you're like, yeah, I got my confirmations, but I'm just gonna keep scrolling. Because doing something else, like shutting off your phone and going and sitting there in the silence, waiting for your inspiration to move you to certain things, and then act upon that tiny move. If you sit in silence for long enough, it will start move you. If you tune into your environment for long enough, and you calm yourself and you connect with your divine aspect, you start tuning into the energies around you, and they start moving you and affecting you, and you start, like, you go into this meditative space. And there's definitely a possibility, and this is not just a Piscean talking, there's definitely a possibility to live from that meditative state. Meaning, when you're in that, you act upon inspiration and you go and do it. But the thing with social media is that it keeps your fight or flight on high alert at all times. So survival is the number one need. And if survival is the number one need, and you've gotten so accustomed to the rushes of, both adrenaline and cortisol that comes from you constantly being in stress, the opposite might feel a little, I don't want to do that. Because it doesn't feel like relief to you at once. It's not the first thing. Like, your mind might know that, oh, that's a good idea, but your emotional body has been through a lot, so that's not what it's going to immediately accept, allowing the silence to guide the way. And imagine if you owned every single media platform in the world, and you have billions of people using your platform every single day. Can you sense the possibility that perhaps if you use that social media platform or any media platforms as your security blanket, you'd make sure to only bring your own thoughts into that media? Meaning, perhaps you'll make the media look like there is something new coming in, but really it's only you. It's only your information. It's your tool to bring what you want to other people. Meaning, if you would have created media in that way, if you owned every single media in the world, social media, then the people using it would be happy about feeling as if they bring their own thoughts into, as if they bring their own ideas into the platforms, but really, if they did, there is so much resistance even talking about this. Like, I'm probably gonna stop talking about this, because my brain goes into like, oh, well, you're on YouTube, and you know that they like screen automatic type out everything you say, so this video won't, like, no one will find it, no one who needs it won't ever hear it, because you're a part of the problem, you're inside that social sphere, so what are you even doing with all these readings? Most of the time, what feels bad is not knowing exactly what you want. Give me a message. Write my name on a wall. Is your blood boiling? Tell me you think about me. Cups. Don't keep enabling the chaos. You get to choose that you staying in the highest vibration is of the most benefit to everyone, including yourself and the whole world at large. And when you own that truth, when you powerfully choose that truth, you will make completely different life choices. You will ask yourself at all moments of the day, how is this thought? How are these words that I'm saying making me feel? And then you'll question it. Why do these words make me feel like this? What's the benefit of these words making me feel like this, or these thoughts? And then you will choose if you want to keep enabling them. Knowing that you feeling the best, you being at the highest, most available vibrational state to you, is of benefit to the whole world and to yourself. Because that is how you line up with your expansion. So if we're bringing back to the example of I was going into some deep shame route and how the world is dark and yada yada yada, and media is all bad, and just like a lot of thoughts that perhaps I'm just tuning into. And it would be, so for some parts of me, it would be benefiting them to accumulate those thoughts and materialize those thoughts because it would keep me safe. But that doesn't feel good. Whatever the objective truth is and whatever the reality is, that doesn't feel good. I'll have to get more concrete with this. We'll say, for example, you can't share what you want on YouTube because there is no free speech here. There are aspects of me that attract the thoughts that, oh, that means that no one's gonna hear what you have to say. I'm using every information that I have ever gathered, and I'm using that as fuel for a belief that somehow serves me. That belief serves me, keeping me safe, because I will get so scared that I will stay away from it. And if I stay away from it, there is no possibility of me getting recognized. There is no possibility of people listening to what I have to say. There's no possibility of reaching out to people or people coming to me or progressing further down my life. And by me not doing that, by me staying stuck, I don't have to deal with all the shame. Because it's very painful looking back upon the childhood and recognizing that so many things I weren't allowed to do because it wasn't benefiting the parents. So many things I weren't allowed to do because somehow they would judge that as something that isn't benefiting them. Like if I got a lot of attention, that would make my mother uncomfortable. Till this day, it makes my mother uncomfortable. If my mother is uncomfortable, that's a shitty environment for me. Like, the consequence will be severe if my mom is in a bad mood. That is the reality when I grew up. God knows if that's the reality for wherever she's currently at. Since people, have a resistance to change, I would assume that that's probably still a truth on one level. If she's in a bad mood, someone else will have to pay for it. For many, many reasons, and she has her own patterns, and all of that. But that's what fuels the shame, because the tools she would use in order to, oh my god, I'm gonna say break a human psyche. The tools she uses to break human psyche, to put so much self-doubt into you that, like in this example, getting attention is something that intrinsically feels bad. Either that, or when I'm at a position when I get a lot of attention, I will fuel beliefs so that the attention isn't recognized. For example, if I'm on a stage, no one will come and compliment me afterwards. If I'm on a stage, no one will tell me that I did a good job. That's how bad it got. So I can be up singing, dancing, playing, I don't know, doing acting, anything, and then no one will compliment me afterwards. Which is even an impossibility on one level, because one, I'm good. Two, there can be so many things to get compliments for that doesn't even have to objectively mirror that your performance or whatever you just, like performance was good. But that belief that's been all the way back into when I got attention and my mother didn't like it. Because maybe I got real love. Maybe I actually got appreciation, and that vibrational state triggered her. And instead of looking at why that triggered her, she rejected it. So a lot of positive emotions that have to do with what I actually want out of life, and what doesn't matter if I want it or not. See, a little voice in me still does this BS to me. But okay, I want it, but it's also what feels good. In the calmness, that's what feels good. In the stress, it feels bad. So are you in a flight or fight mode, or are you actually in the meditative state? Like, how calm are you? Because only in the calmness will you actually know your truth. So there are aspects of me that might tell me that what's in my most benefit is to not get attention, not get recognized. But that's not the full truth. The full truth is what was in my best attention was to not get attacked by my mother. Everything else, I've just made it mean something. I've made it mean that getting attention on YouTube will end up in me getting attacked by my mother, so I reject it. I've made it mean that getting lots of compliments after a performance will end up in me getting rejected by my mother, so I reject it. Because the rejection from my mother was so bad. And then it gets complicated in my personal case, because I'm still rejected by my mother. But it's like no matter what I do, my whole being is being rejected, and yet the words she puts out when she talks to people around me, depending on how triggered she is, if she's annoyed by something and she's had a conflict and she has no one to blame for that conflict, I'll be the problem, so she will go on a hate rage thing about how of a shitty person I am, and how everything in her life sucks because of me. But if she's neutral, or if she's trying to portray an image to people, she will say good things. So depending on who I'm talking to, which, if when I was talking to my relatives, depending on who I was talking to, that would like mirror back the gaslight of, no, your mom said you're amazing. Your mom said your performance was great. Your mom said she's so proud of you. When I know that are lies. Because if my reality started mirroring back to me that I am great, that I am good at what I do, the people enjoy what I'm doing, I will get punished. And I realized just now, perhaps she's not even conscious aware that is the reality she has set up for me. And maybe if I were ever to bring that into her conscious awareness, she would have to furiously refuse it Because otherwise, the level of pain she would face, if she would accept that as her reality, would be immense. Wow, that was a huge story time of why I am in no contact with my relatives. But maybe it's important. I don't know. Apparently, that's where we took it today. So, it's like so important that you make it the number one priority to follow the thoughts that make you feel a little bit better. But it is also important to follow the thoughts that make you feel like shit, so that you understand where they come from, what they do to you, and how that has affected everything that you do around you. So that when something mirrors in the reality, in your 3D reality, you don't, one, I heard, you don't blame yourself. Two, you don't see yourself as a victim to circumstances. But just because you're not a victim to circumstances today doesn't mean that you were not a victim to circumstances when you were a child. It doesn't mean that the circumstances you were in weren't so painful that you have now adapted the reality that you have adapted. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's still valid the way you have created your life around you. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything other than that. Like, it makes complete sense. The only thing now is that you're at a choice point. And expansion is of benefit. And if you're thinking of it in terms like everything in existence is trying to push you towards expansion, get on board. Then the whole blaming yourself attitude and the whole I'm choosing to stay stuck where I am, and I'm choosing to keep scrolling, and I choose to keep looking on YouTube videos, and I even past the stage of getting information. So when you've looked at the same video, similar video 4 times, knowing that you probably have all the information you need and you can trust yourself to go in the direction that you want to go. When you pass that stage, that's the inhibitant. That's a problem. Like, it is so beneficial to keep looking at the patterns that you come from, to keep looking at thoughts that you have enabled. Because it puts you in a very powerful state. Because you start recognizing that you have created it. Now, you created it out of pain, but you created it. And the pain is still valid, and so is your power in creating your reality. And then you get to play around with the future potential. If you play around with the thoughts that make you feel good and you start following them and you start visualizing or imagining your future and what you could achieve, and not just what you could achieve. It's like, what is of interest to you to do? Then you create your reality, but the point of creation isn't pain anymore, and it's not I'm trying to avoid more pain. It's that oh, I'm pulled into joy. Like it's a positive vibration that motivates me. It's not the fear of a something that makes me feel really bad that motivates me. And see, one thing I will say is, depending on where you're currently at, you might not have access to hope or joy or inspiration. If you don't feel it, don't force it. Again, try to be okay with that meditative state and look for your answers within that, within yourself, and then follow whatever the silence tells you. And you really do go a little bit better, a little bit better, and a little bit better. I don't know what words to use to kind of persuade you into actually listening to the silence and actually living in it and actually allowing it to be such an important, most prioritized aspect of you. Because even if, say that that's the most beneficial thing for you, that is the most beneficial thing for you, it is still like doing something new for the first time. It's not really comfortable, and when you don't even know what to expect, and when you don't even know how good it's going to feel, then it's just scary. So maybe you can start with like, okay, but will this make me feel worse? So when you go into like, okay, I'm gonna sit in the silence until it moves me, I'm gonna sit in the silence until I'm able to observe my own thoughts so that I can think without just being forced to think, because I'm, grabbing onto every thought that comes and identifying with it. Maybe you can listen to yourself, and maybe you can have like a little bit of hunch. Will that make me feel worse? Or won't it? And maybe that can be your first step. Like, it doesn't even have to be like, will this make me feel better? That can be like too much. But maybe it won't make you feel worse. And maybe you can just try it out. Honestly, I feel like the worst, shittiest person. Like, everything sucks. And I definitely probably have reasons for superiority complex. I don't want to be seen as a narcissist, or that I'm better than you, or that things that my mom would say that it would mean if I start liking myself. Then it would mean A, B, C, D, E, F, G, And that's bad, so shame on you. So I'm gonna trust that this message finds you because it benefits you. And I'm not gonna cry on camera for this. um, oh, we're definitely called into the silence today. So if you're able to, and you don't think that it's gonna make you feel worse, choose to sit in the silence for a while today. Just cancel plans, cancel the mental plans you've made. Take the time to just sit and cancel everything. Just cancel it. Just see, like, maybe I come out a different person after it, and then I have to rechange every single plan, and do that if that's the case. But like, cancel it and just sit in the silence, and let the silence move you. Attune to yourself, and then go about your day. Okay, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.